So I am wrapping up the editing on this video, and I'm now realizing that it might come across that I actually am really upset that people ask these questions. I do understand that when people ask them, it comes from a good place and they mean well. It's just the fact that I get asked these questions so frequently that makes me laugh. I'm not mad. I just wanted to have a laugh about it because it is literally so predictable and so common, and I feel like it's a shared experience amongst a lot of parents. The only one I'm actually serious about is number 7. Y'all need to mind your business on that one, but you'll get there when you get there. So otherwise, I hope you enjoy this and can relate to some of these questions that I have heard so many times as a parent. All right, I apologize in advance if there's a clicking sound in the background. I'm watching my baby on the camera, and I cannot turn the volume any lower than it already is. So, sorry. Cat hair and everything. Before we start this video, I want to remind you to subscribe, like, comment, do all that garbage to help me out. I appreciate it. Today is rant day. Thank you. I'm about to talk some mad shit, so if you don't want to hear me bitch, then maybe don't stick around. If there's one thing I've learned in life, it's that major life events bring out the best and the worst in people. People are very intrusive, and I'm not just talking about like your immediate family, your grandma, whatever. A lot of people are intrusive, especially when it comes to having children. People you meet in the grocery store, people who work with you but don't really know you outside of work, people who don't know how to mind their own business, and they're gonna say things to you. And I just needed a moment to rant about all the questions that I've gotten, not just from like family, but from people who hardly know me and hardly know my husband. Number 1, when I was pregnant, do you know how many times people asked me, do you want a boy or a girl? Well, first things first, gender doesn't matter. It doesn't. It is 2020 now. And then it was 2019. It doesn't matter. I'm not slamming on anybody who's like having a baby and hoping for a girl or hoping for a boy or whatever. Like, you do you. When I was younger and before I had gotten pregnant, my husband and I both thought it would be fun to have a boy. But here's the context to that. We both have sisters who are 10 to 12 years younger than us. So we've both been involved in the upbringing of 3 young girls. That's not to say that we are their parents and we had the full experience of bringing up a girl, but we were very involved in their caretaking whenever necessary, whenever our parents needed us to help out. So changing diapers all the way up through experiencing the female puberty back to back to back. We'd been there, so we thought it'd be fun to have a boy, but then we got pregnant finally, and we both agreed we didn't care. All we cared about was having a happy, healthy baby. And we were stoked for whether they were a boy or a girl. It didn't matter. What mattered was a healthy baby and getting to know this person that we had created. But also for the people who are out there trying for something specific, you know, say a mom of 3 boys decides she really wants to try one more time for a girl. Like, kudos to you, and tell Joe to stop pestering you about what you're hoping for. Because maybe it's a painful subject. So shut up, Joe, and mind your business. Number 2, when are you going to have another baby? Okay, but I just popped this one out. So if you're in my immediate circle, you know that we're going to try again soon. But if you're not in my immediate circle, why are you asking me that when I'm just starting to figure out how to handle this baby? People are so nosy. And then this also kind of relates to before you even get pregnant and you get married. People are like, when are you having a baby? When are you having a baby? I got some people real uncomfortable and made them be quiet when they kept pestering me about when we were going to have children by saying, oh, well, we're having fertility issues. And you'd be surprised how quick people shut up because it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about if they don't know you that well. Just like they shouldn't be asking you when you're going to have a baby if they don't know you that well. Number 3, enjoy those baby snuggles or enjoy whatever, fill in the blank. They grow so fast. Yes, Karen, I know, they grow fast. I think everybody on planet Earth can agree that babies grow exponentially quickly. I don't need you reminding me how my baby's going to grow up into an independent being who doesn't need his parents anymore. That's going to happen for everybody. That's inevitable, right? Sometimes I do enjoy those baby snuggles, but sometimes where my baby's screaming her head off and I can't do anything right, and I'm extremely exhausted and all I want to do is cry, I don't always enjoy those moments. So stop telling me to enjoy every freaking moment. Number 4, this is probably my favorite. People would always say to me before the baby was born, you better get sleep now because you won't once the baby's here. Like as if I can somehow sleep for 24 hours a day for a whole month to backstock on sleep so that once the baby got here, I wouldn't be tired anymore, like magic. Well, sir, you don't know every baby. I've met people whose babies start sleeping through the night at 4 weeks old, and I've met people who have babies that are approaching a year old and they still wake up a couple times a night. You're not the expert on every single baby that ever came onto earth. You're not God. So maybe stop telling me what I will and won't be doing after my baby's born. I'll have you know that I am very lucky. I have a baby who started sleeping through the night at 6 weeks old. And pretty much since then, I've gotten almost 9 hours of sleep every single night. And sometimes I think that the universe blessed me with that because my baby is such a spaz and I needed to be well rested to deal with her in all of her waking hours. Number 5 kind of piggybacks off that. People are always asking you, did your baby sleep through the night yet? Well, I can say, yes, I'm very lucky. My baby started sleeping through the night at 6 weeks. It's been amazing. But the parent next to me may be extremely exhausted, have an 8-month-old baby who will not sleep unless she's swaddled, wrapped into a tight burrito, covered in a blanket, held by her parents with a binky shoved in her mouth. And anytime you go to lay her down, she wakes up like a little demon. Like she just... Some babies do that. Maybe you're not making that baby's parents feel very good by constantly bringing up the fact that their baby should be sleeping through the night. Number 6, it's gonna change your life forever. Well, no f***ing shit. I'm guilty of telling people that it does indeed change your life, but I always follow that up with, no one can explain to you how. I mean, I don't know who decided to start telling people this, but clearly if you're like living your entire life only responsible for really yourself, really, you're not responsible for your partner or anybody else, and then you decide to make a human that can't do anything for themselves, obviously, it's common sense that it's going to change your life. But I don't know why people constantly feel the need to tell you that. The way it changes your life literally can't be put into words. Rationally, we know that being responsible for another human is obviously a big change. I guess I just really find it annoying how condescending people are with that statement. It's like, this is gonna change your life forever. You just don't even know. You don't even understand. It's like, okay, but eventually they will understand. So why are you talking down to them for the 3 months of the time being before their baby's born? Are you really contributing anything? Number 7 is another favorite of mine. Since when were everybody's tits so up for discussion and debate? We live in a country where it is now being pushed to breastfeed, right? But it's also being publicly shamed to breastfeed. Well, you shouldn't do it in public, or you should be more modest about it. You should do it. You can do it in public, but you should cover everything up. It's none of your business, first of all. And people are like, oh, well, I'm eating and I don't want to see that. Well, don't fucking look at it, right? Okay, so number 7's question is, are you breastfeeding or are you going to breastfeed? I thought I had the answer to that because I'm cheap and boobs are free. I don't have to pay for formula, right? It's good for the environment. No packaging needed. Literally comes straight from the source, farm to frickin' table. What nobody ever talks about or told me was that sometimes your boobs don't work. And sometimes you're unable to produce any milk, or if you do produce milk, it's only out of one boob, or you can only produce a few ounces a day and your baby eats that much every time she eats. Nobody has that conversation, though I've yet to be met with somebody who gave me crap for feeding my baby formula out of a bottle. I know that it does happen to women. I don't know who made the general public the freaking authority on breastfeeding, but I think y'all need to mind your business because babies need to eat. Do you know how painful it is for some women who want to breastfeed more than anything else and then they're unable to do so? So maybe don't ask them if they're nursing, or ask them how nursing's going, or assume that they're nursing. Some women just don't want to breastfeed. Some women have to go back to work because they're not able to stay at home with their child because they need the money. Some women just want to go back to work because that's what they love to do. Doesn't make them any less of a mother. How their baby eats doesn't freaking matter. If I lived in medieval times and I didn't have a wet nurse, my baby wouldn't have survived. Mind your business and don't be worrying about the lady whipping out her boob at the restaurant. Don't you have better things to worry about? Number 8, you better stock up on diapers or formula or fill in the blank. Babies aren't cheap. I will have you know that babies actually are not that expensive in the beginning. They get more expensive the older they get when they want to play soccer or little league or dance class or theater. They want to go on traveling baseball teams in the summer. You know what my baby needs right now? Clothes, diapers, milk. The most expensive thing that she requires is her formula. And trust me, I could sacrifice a few nights of Taco Bell every month to pay for it. All right, that's a little exaggeration. That's a little bit more than Taco Bell, but you get what I'm saying. I can shuffle some things around in my budget and drop $100 to $200 every month on her food. And because we do cloth diapering, diapers are not a regular expense for us. And also, if I'm in my 30s, do you really think you need to tell me how babies aren't cheap? You think I haven't thought this through? Number 9, are you going to stay at home with your baby? This is another one of those questions that kind of irks me because you're assuming that everybody wants to stay at home with their child. Clearly, we all have to make money to support our children, right? Everybody's situation is different. If you're asking that to somebody who really does want to stay at home with their child, but they just can't afford it and it doesn't make sense for them to not go back to work, that's pretty crappy because it makes them feel less than as a parent. Or some people just really don't want to. For me, it made sense for us financially, and once I got into the swing of things, I wouldn't have it any other way. But that doesn't mean I'm not working. Another one of the questions that follows up on that is like, what do you do all day? Well, if you must know, so far, I've fed my baby twice, I've washed her diapers, I've done 2 loads of laundry, I did the dishes, I made myself breakfast, and now I'm trying to advance myself creatively by creating content. And it's only 10 a.m. What did you do by 10 a.m., Susan? Check your email, talk some shit at the water cooler, make yourself a coffee, sit in a pointless meeting where you got nothing done and you talked about the same things you talked about in last week's meeting? Come at me. Do you know how much shit I do every day? I do not sit on my ass. Just because somebody doesn't go to a physical traditional workplace, it does not mean they don't work. Number 10, when I'm not with my baby, my favorite question, so who's with the baby? Do you ever think my baby has another parent? Do you ever think she might be with her dad? Don't you think that dad knows all the things that are supposed to happen for the baby since, he's been around her for the last 5 months? And if I'm with dad, do you think the baby is just like, I left her with the cats, right? They're fine. Put a little cat food down on the floor. Obviously, I'm ensuring that my child is in good hands if I am not with her. And frankly, the fact that everybody seems to think that a baby should be with her mother 100% of the time is pretty f***ing ridiculous. Distance does make the heart grow fonder. And you have to get out of your damn house sometimes and leave your kid with her dad and just drive to the frickin' convenience store. Buy yourself a donut. That's it. 10 questions that people constantly ask you if you're having a baby or you just had a baby. If anybody else wants to share some of their most annoying questions they've received as new parents or soon to be, leave them in the comments section below because I love that shit. People are so predictable and so ridiculous, and it makes me laugh some of the things that people ask you. It's like nothing is sacred and everyone's entitled to your personal decisions. If you're a Joe or a Karen or a Susan, mind you, these are not people that I know. These are just names that I've thrown out there. Your typical HR names. Just mind your damn business and let people live. Deuces. That's for my thumbnail.